The silent epidemic loneliness knows no age. We crave connection, it's human. But in a world that's increasingly connected digitally, we're facing a silent epidemic loneliness. Loneliness doesn't discriminate, it affects everyone, regardless of age, background, or social status. We see it in teenagers glued to their phones, adults working long hours, and seniors isolated in their homes. This isn't just about feeling alone, it's about the deep emotional and physical impact of lacking meaningful connections. Loneliness is a public health crisis. It's linked to depression, anxiety, heart disease, and even a shorter lifespan. We need to talk about it, and most importantly, we need to learn how to combat it. In a world that often feels isolating, we all share a common need: belonging. Let's explore how loneliness manifests across different generations and discover ways to build genuine connections. Growing pains and digital disconnect: teenagers and loneliness. Teenagers face a unique set of challenges when it comes to loneliness. It's a time of intense social pressure, identity formation, and navigating a world that feels increasingly complex. Social media, while seemingly connecting, often exacerbates feelings of inadequacy and isolation. Teens compare themselves to curated online personas, leading to feelings of not being good enough. Cyberbullying adds another layer, amplifying insecurities and anxieties. But it's not just the digital world. The pressure to fit in, academic stress, and changing family dynamics can all contribute to loneliness in teenagers. Imagine a young girl, Sarah, scrolling through Instagram, bombarded by images of perfect lives. She compares herself to these unattainable standards and feels inadequate. The more time she spends online, the more disconnected she feels from her real-life relationships. This is the reality for many teenagers today. The digital world can be both a source of connection and isolation. It's crucial for teenagers to develop healthy online habits, prioritize face-to-face interactions, and cultivate a strong sense of self-worth that isn't dependent on social media validation. The adult struggle: juggling life and longing for connection. Adulthood brings a different set of challenges to the table. We juggle careers, relationships, finances, and often, the weight of societal expectations. This constant striving can lead to a sense of emptiness, a yearning for connection amidst the busyness of life. We might have thousands of social media contacts, but lack true, meaningful relationships. Consider John, a successful executive who works long hours. He's achieved professional success but feels a growing sense of isolation. His days are filled with meetings and deadlines, leaving little time for personal connections. He has colleagues but lacks true friends. John's story highlights a common experience for many adults. We prioritize achievement over connection, often sacrificing our well-being in the process. Building a support system, nurturing existing relationships, and prioritizing self-care are crucial for combating loneliness in adulthood. The golden years: silent burden, loneliness in seniors. Loneliness can be particularly acute for seniors. Retirement, loss of loved ones, and declining health can lead to social isolation and a diminished sense of purpose. Many seniors live alone, facing physical limitations that make it challenging to engage in social activities. This generation might not be as familiar with technology, further exacerbating feelings of disconnect. They may have a lifetime of experiences to share but lack someone to listen. Imagine Mrs. Smith, widowed and living alone. Her children live far away, and her mobility issues limit her social interactions. Days turn into weeks, filled with a deafening silence. This is the heartbreaking reality for many seniors. Combating loneliness in this generation requires a collective effort. Community programs, senior centers, and intergenerational initiatives can provide vital social connections. Regular visits from family and friends, even virtually, can make a world of difference. Finding connection in a disconnected world: steps to combat loneliness. Loneliness is a complex issue, but there is hope. Building meaningful connections requires vulnerability, courage, and a willingness to step outside our comfort zones. Here are some steps we can all take, regardless of age. Put down the phone, connect in person. Prioritize face-to-face interactions. Engage in activities that foster genuine connections. Cultivate meaningful relationships. Nurture existing relationships and be open to forming new ones. Join a group or club. Find communities that align with your interests. Volunteer your time. Helping others can boost your own sense of purpose and connection. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Loneliness is a universal experience, not a personal failing. Loneliness might be a silent epidemic, but it doesn't have to be a life sentence. By fostering genuine connections, practicing self-compassion, and supporting one another, we can combat loneliness and build a world where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. Remember, we are all in this together. Let's choose connection over isolation, empathy over indifference, and love over fear.